Yes students, next we are starting our chapter number 15, that is plant growth and development. In this chapter, according to the CBSE syllabus, now only one topic is we are going to do, that is plant hormones, also known as phytohormones. But before coming to the phytohormones, we must know what is growth and what is development, right? So if we are talking about the growth is an irreversible change, right? If an organism, we are talking about any organism, say a puppy, right? A puppy will grow into a dog, right? That is irreversible change, means increase in the mass of the cells and size of the organism, that is known as growth, right? Which is irreversible in nature. If we are talking about the development is a sum of two processes, that is the growth and differentiation, right? We know that all the organisms that start their life from a single cell, right? From the single cell, they will just divide and then will have two cells from 4 cells and then 8 cells, and the multiplication will go on, right? And now what is happening in the organisms that they will divide their work according to their function, right? The division of the work according to their function is known as differentiation. So the development includes sum of two processes, including your growth as well as the differentiation, in which the cells will divide their work according to their functions, right? Now coming to the phytohormones. Phyto word is derived from the term that is known as plant, right? So the plant hormones are also known as phytohormones. Now some general characteristics among all the 5 types of hormones, right? We are going to study about the 5 types of the plant hormones. Yes, and the general characteristics are they are having a low molecular weight, right? So the first characteristics that the phytohormones possesses, that they are having a low molecular weight. Their molecular weight is very much less, and we know that whose molecular weight is very less, we just keep that organism, or we keep that molecules in the bio-micromolecules, right? Those who are having a high molecular weight, we keep those organisms or that biochemicals into the bio-macromolecules, right? Now they are having a low molecular weight, so they are kept under the bio-micromolecules, right? Next one, the site of production and the site of action is different, means the place where they are producing, right? Suppose a root is producing certain hormone, but they will perform their function somewhere else. Similarly, in the human body also, the pituitary gland is there, which is present in the brain, right? That is secreting the growth hormones, which are performing their function somewhere else. So same here in the phytohormones also, the site of production means wherever they are being produced or synthesized, right? And the site of action, where they have to perform their function, that is completely different. The site of production and the site of action is different, right? Next, we are having the 5 categories, right? That 5 categories, if you are broadly just dividing it into the phytohormones, are basically categorized into 2 categories. One hormones are known as the plant growth promoting hormones, right? Which are going to promote the growth of the plants, and the one is known as the inhibiting hormone, right? Which is going to inhibit the growth of the plants, right? So basically they are categorized into 2 general categories. One is the growth promoting hormones and one is the growth inhibiting hormones. Now there are 5 categories, of which first is the purines, right? One is the purines, that is derived, these are all the secondary metabolites from where they have been derived, right? These phytohormones are derived from these particular terms, right? We are going to study. Number 1 is the purines. Purine, that includes the cytokinin, and cytokinins are derived from the adenine, right? These terms we have studied in your biomolecules chapter, right? The purines are there, that is including your cytokinin. Cytokinin is a phytohormone and this is derived from the adenine, and it is having a promoting properties, right? That is a growth promoting hormone. The second one includes your terpenes. Terpenes are the, which one are known as derived lipids, right? Terpenes are also known as derived lipids, and that includes the gibberellins, right? This is also a hormone which is having a growth promoting properties. And then the third one includes the indole. Indole includes the auxins. Auxin is a plant hormone. The next one is a gaseous hormone. This is the only hormone that exists in the gaseous form, right? That is the ethylene. Now till here, these 4 hormones, that is auxin, time, and firstly they have been isolated from the human urine, right? The first source from where they have been extracted was the human urine. Firstly they were founded in the human urine, right? Now coming to the functions of the auxin. Number one, they are just going to help in the cell division, right? What is cell division? A single cell. From the single cell we will get 2 cells and then further 4 cells. So the cell division will go on, right? So firstly the auxin are having the properties that they will help in the cell division. Second, they will induce the parthenocarpy. Parthenocarpy means they are used in production of seedless fruits, as in case of tomato, right? Many gardeners, or you can see the farmers, they can use this method, or they can use the auxin to produce the seedless fruits. Parthenocarpy is the production of the seedless fruits. This is mostly done in case of tomato, right? The next one is they induce the flowering also, right? Flowering means that produce or that induces the flowering, that helps to produce the flowering, as in case of pineapple, right? These are the examples which have been given in your NCERT, so specifically you have to do that, right? So the first one is the cell division. Secondly, they are producing the seedless fruits, that is parthenocarpy. Example is tomato. Next one, they induce the flowering, as in case of pineapple. Next one, xylem differentiation. We know that xylem is the conducting tissue which is having a 4 components: xylem vessel, xylem trachea, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers, right? So that is known as differentiation, and this auxin is going to help xylem in the differentiation. Next, these auxin can also be used as a herbicides. Herbicides which are used to kill the herbs. And these are also used to prepare the weed-free lawn by the gardeners, right? Gardeners are also using these auxins to prepare the weed-free lawn, right? Next we are going to study about the gibberellins. Gibberellins, more than 100 type of gibberellins are existing, right? More than 100. And how they are distinguished from each other? The name has been given as GA1, GA2, GA3 and so on, right? There are more than 100 gibberellin acids are there, right? And these are basically acidic. As the gibberellins, its full name is gibberellic acid, right? So from the name it is suggested that all these are acidic in their nature. The nature of this one is acidic. Now next, they help in the malting process. In the malting process, usually the grains are taken, then the steeping is done. Steeping means just they are drying or melted in a sheet, right? They are just forming a sheet kind structure. Firstly, steeping is done, in which the grains are just converted into a sheet like structure, and then these are dried and then converted into the malt, and then that converted malt is being used in the brewing industry. Brewing industry is to produce the alcohol like something, right? So malting is there, that is the production of the malt. Bolting. Bolting means whenever there are certain plants, the internode elongation is must, right? So that we can get the higher productivity, right? That is the internode elongation. And once the internode elongation is done, right, that means we are getting the higher productivity. So that is why the internode elongation is done. That process is known as bolting, and that is done with the help of hormone, that is known as gibberellins, right? Next one is the stem elongation. These are also used in the stem elongation, as in case of length of the grape stalks, right? Next one, it causes the fruit like apples, right? It causes the fruit like apples to elongate, right? That helps the apples to elongate and also to maintain its shape, right? That improves the shape, as in case of apple, that is the gibberellins, right? So these are the functions of the auxin and the gibberellins. Yes, beta. The next one is our cytokinins. Cytokinins are derived from the kinetin, right? We have discussed earlier also in the form of table that cytokinins were derived from the kinetin form, right? Now, if this is equal to the auxin, right? Here I have written if auxin, the amount of auxin is equal to the amount of cytokinin. In this case, only the cell division is going to take place, right? When their amount is equal, right? The cytokinin is equal to the auxin, then only the cell division will take place. It also promotes the root growth and the root hair formation. Now, the root hair growth promotion, what it will help? It will help in the absorption. It will provide a more surface area so that maximum nutrients can be absorbed, right? So it is having a two function here because it is just producing the root growth and the root hair formation. That will also help in the increasing the surface area so that maximum nutrients and the maximum water can be absorbed by the plant. The last one, it also initiates the flowering. Flowering as in case of pineapple and mango, right? These are the functions of the ethylene. Now we have studied four types of hormones: auxins, gibberellins, cytokinase and ethylene. All these are known as growth promoting hormones. Our last plant hormone, that is the growth inhibiting hormone, is also known as abscisic acid, and this is also known as stress hormone, right? First of all, the function of it is it promotes the seed dormancy, right? In the last, right, we have studied that it breaks the seed dormancy, right? That will help in the seed germination. Now it is saying that it promotes the seed dormancy, means the inactive stage of the seed that will be promoting, right? Now the seed will not be able to germinate, right? That promotes the seed dormancy. Now the seed is not able to germinate. The next one, the closure of the stomata, right? The abscisic acid also promotes the closure of the stomata in the epidermis. Now when the stomata will be closed, right, that enables the plants to tolerate various kinds of stresses, right? Now the plant is able to tolerate various kinds of stresses because the stomata is closed, right? The various gases exchange, the water exchange, now it cannot take place. So plant is able to tolerate to the various kinds of stresses, right? And that is why it is also known as stress hormone, because of closure of stomata in the epidermis, and now the plant is able to tolerate various kinds of stresses, right? That is why this abscisic acid is also known as stress hormone. The another function of this one is early senescence. Early senescence means when the abscisic acid is present, the cell death will be more earlier, right? The leaf fall will be earlier. Everything which is related to the senescence means the cell death, that will be in the earlier stages, right? So abscisic acid is a plant inhibiting growth inhibiting hormone, right? This is a growth inhibiting hormone. It is performing functions completely opposite to the hormones which are having a plant growth promoting hormones, right? It is a growth inhibiting hormone, right? And that is why the early senescence is performed by the abscisic acid. Moreover, one more important line in the NCERT has been given, that is ABAs, that is abscisic acid, act as antagonistic to gibberellin acid, right? Gibberellic acid or gibberellin acids, right? You can call it any of this. So antagonistic means opposite, right? They are having the functions completely opposite as compared to the gibberellins acid, right? This is the end of the chapter. In this chapter, we will study only about the plant hormones. We are not going to study about the plant growth, what is their pattern, their development and vernalization, etc. That topics has been removed from this chapter for this year only, right? Thank you so much.